Ladies and gentlemen, all is not lost in 2020. Why? Because Nicolas Cage is in yet another animated movie. It's for the Croods too, but still, he's in another animated movie. Why aren't you smiling? That's a good thing, right? Right? What's going on, you guys? James here with another real review, and today I'm diving right into Croods: A New Age, the sequel to the 2013 animated film that did numbers at the box office. So whether or not you wanted a sequel, you were gonna get one. This sequel sees the departure of two of our original directors and instead welcomes in a new director by the name of Joel Crawford, who's making his feature-length debut here, and he worked as a story artist on a film that you probably should have seen by now, Kung Fu Panda. If you haven't, well, what are you doing? It stars Nicolas Cage, Emma Stone, Ryan Reynolds, all of our OG cast, but some new voices as well, like Kelly Marie Tran, Leslie Mann, and Peter Dinklage. I love all three of those actors. The film does release November 25th wherever theaters are open, and luckily the runtime is just as cool and crisp as the first movie, coming in at 95 minutes. Thank goodness, because you guys know sequels, they do that thing where they like to be a little bit longer than the first film, but not here. Now, I had an issue with the first movie, which I did watch recently, which was the second act dragging a little bit and the story being a lot less interesting than I had hoped it would have been. Now, do those problems get remedied here in the sequel? I'll tell you guys all of that and much more, but before we get into my review, if it is your first time here at the channel, welcome to Real James, where I review movies early just like this. So if you want to see even more content, please consider subscribing to the channel below, helping us out get to 3,000 subscribers. Are you kidding me, guys? Thank you for your support. Tap the bell as well so you stay up to date with anything new, and smash that like button and get loud in the comments, guys, and let me know what you thought of this movie when you see it, or if you're excited to see this in theaters if it's safe. Croods: A New Age surrounds our favorite prehistoric family, the Croods, and they do run up on a new family, the Bettermans, who believe they're better than anyone and anything. However, when a huge problem forces them to work together, they must decide whether to put aside their egos or fend for themselves. So I do like the concept of this film. It sounds so much more interesting than the first movie, but does it succeed? Now, I don't want to get into any negatives just yet. I want to start with the positives, and that is the animation. The lighting is much more refined. I found that the colors popped even brighter, especially when we get to the Betterman's home, and the animation is smoother here in these big action sequences than the first movie. Man, I watched this on any size screen in my home and I was still blown away. So I'm imagining that if you watch it in theaters, if you watch it on your iPad, it doesn't matter. I think that you're going to be blown away just like I was. And then there's the voice acting, which is exactly how you remember it from the first film. It's solid. Emma Stone and Ryan Reynolds really are the standouts again here. They're given the majority of the spotlight. However, I do like that the film kind of expands itself outward to include more voices like Kelly Marie Tran, Peter Dinklage, and Leslie Mann. And among our new cast, Kelly Marie Tran really stood out, and that makes me so much more excited for Raya and the Last Dragon. Every moment she had in Croods: A New Age just oozed personality, so imagine her in a lead role. Boy, I'm so excited for that film, and I thought she was great in this sequel. Now, one area that Croods: A New Age focused on a lot was building relationships among our new cast and our old cast, and when it gave time to certain relationships, it really worked. The one I loved the most was between Eep and Dawn. Eep, of course, voiced by Emma Stone, and Dawn, voiced by Kelly Marie Tran. They were dynamic together. Gosh, I laughed the most with their scenes together, and it really invoked a lot of happiness. Honestly, I felt the warmest watching them, and I think that was a testament to both of their acting, but also when the writing went away from the main storyline, which was a little bloated, I really appreciated those departures, those side missions where we got a lot of character development. But honestly, Emma Stone, Kelly Marie Tran, they both exemplified what I wanted the whole movie to feel like. But unfortunately, guys, we did not get that, and the reason why Croods: A New Age didn't work as well for me as I was hoping it would is because of the story, or the lack thereof. Gosh, it is just very bland and a little formulaic. Like I mentioned earlier, there's a brand new director here with 4 new screenwriters. Yes, I said 4 screenwriters. However, the problems of the first movie still bled through to the sequel. The second act is entirely uninteresting, and they really do try to give us more layers to our characters, but it never resonated with me. Instead, it felt like there was a lot of build-up with no payoff. And that was the worst thing about it, is that when we get to the climax of the movie, you only have 11 minutes left, and then you think, well, darn, there's really no come down, and if anything happens during that come down, nothing felt justified. The formula here was also basically the same as the first movie, which lended itself to a lot of predictable moments and gosh, a lot of jokes that just felt so samey. And outside of Emma Stone, Ryan Reynolds, and Kelly Marie Tran, I felt that every other actor did little to nothing to really separate themselves. Our original cast here was coasting, and even Nicolas Cage, who I like as an actor, guys, and I loved him in the first movie, I felt that he was just a little bit more laid back, and some of these performances, some of these moments felt phoned in. Maybe the lack of impact was due to trying to fit too many characters into one story that everything really blended together far too often. And for as much as I love Peter Dinklage and Leslie Mann, guys, I expected a little bit more from them. They didn't bring a lot of punch to their roles, and sometimes it worked, most times it didn't, and unfortunately they were some of the more forgettable parts of the movie. And speaking of similar problems, the humor again suffers in this sequel as it did in the first movie. There were some funny moments that included physical humor and offbeat humor that I actually really liked, but I have zero clue what the writers were thinking of in the third act when we get the climax of the film, the grand action sequence, and they're trying to fit in so many little jokes that just did not land at all. And that's the majority of the movie sometimes, where we get jokes that are supposed to be funny, that feel like they fit, but then when we get to the punchline, I'm sorry, it never landed. Honestly, the humor here is on the same level as the previous film, and that's a bummer because I believe that's one area that Croods: A New Age needed to kind of get better in for it to hook me on a different level. Did I expect this to be the funniest movie of the year? Absolutely not. And I understand the target demographic. Some of these jokes were toned down for kids, and that might work for that area. But when it tries to appeal to adults, it doesn't really succeed, and I really thought that they might get it this time, but they didn't. So overall, you guys, Croods: A New Age is a movie that sticks to the same formula as the first. If you are a fan of this kooky family going on crazy adventures, you're going to find this movie to be just as enjoyable. But if you're like me and you wanted to see a little bit more improvement over the first film, you don't get that here. I absolutely love the addition of Kelly Marie Tran, though. She was so good next to Ryan Reynolds and Emma Stone. But outside of that trio, I was disappointed because, man, the actors here, the cast is just fantastic on paper, but they didn't pack as much of a punch on screen. Although, guys, I can't say enough about the animation itself. That packed a lot of punch, and boy, it looked so beautiful. However, once you do get past the wonderful lighting, the coloring, and even the smooth animation, this movie doesn't have a lot of substance to its story, and none of it is all that interesting, which is a problem that not even near perfect animation can hide. So there you have it, guys. That's my real review of Croods: A New Age, a film that I was expecting a little bit more from. We just didn't get there. Now I want to know what you guys have to say about the film, so get loud in the comments below and smash the like button if you haven't already. And guys, get subscribed to the channel. We're going to be so busy this week. I got reviews coming for Netflix's Hillbilly Elegy. We got Legend of Korra reactions coming Tuesday and Thursday, and Friday is Mandalorian Fridays, alright? I'm going to be up early. I hear a certain Jedi might make her way to the screen. Alrighty guys, well me and Baby Yoda, we're going to get to work on some content. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you at the next screening.